What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So a lot of Americans are still struggling to get back on their feet. Many lawmakers are still pushing for that $2,000 per month stimulus check, yet many governors are taking it upon themselves, and mayors as well, to actually provide their residents with a little bit more spending money. So we also know that lawmakers are pushing to get student loan canceled. This is actually a big thing, and this is what many people are worried about is going to be one of those promises from President Biden that never gets addressed. We also have news that many experts are worried that the new COVID variant could derail our economy from fully opening up. Consumer spending has slowed, which is actually causing many to question what is really going on here and what are the United States or the government and the people here in the United States actually doing wrong. And the done deal on infrastructure yesterday is essentially not a done deal just yet. And I'll explain more on that in just a minute. So just want to tell you guys, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for always hitting that like button. It really does help out the channel. But welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update and daily news report for Friday, June 25th. So let's get into the update for today, because I know a lot of people right now are just waiting to see what is the government going to give us. What are we going to get? What will we see? And what are our tax-paying dollars going to? Well, being that Congress may or may not pass an additional stimulus check, whether it's a $500 check, a $2,000 check, or whatever, it doesn't matter. But what does matter is some mayors and governors at this point are getting fed up with Congress at this time, that they are taking it upon themselves to pass some funding, some additional aid to their residents. Here's what we know. New Jersey is proposing $500 payments to every single household within the city. That was roughly 28,000 households would receive a $500 payment. Here's the difference, and here's what you need to understand. If you are an individual, you live by yourself, you would get $500. But if you are an individual, okay, and you live with a group of, say, 10 people, okay, or 4 people, chances are you're only going to get $500 between all you guys, okay? So this is per household, not per person, okay? Just keep that in mind. If you have a family, it's you, your wife, or your husband, you got, let's say, 3 kids, group of 5, you again would only get a $500 check. That is the proposal on the table right now, and many say this could help. This is only going to cost roughly $15 million, and some say that is a drop in the bucket. That is nothing. So we'll see what happens here, but this is a pretty good proposal. I think $500 per household, it's a little bit small, it honestly is, but at least it's something. We also know that a couple weeks ago, Florida, they actually started saying how they're going to be sending out $1,000 stimulus checks to first responders and educators. This is actually pretty big. This is something that we've seen multiple times in Florida as well, especially in Orange County, Florida. They have, for multiple different times, they have provided a $1,000 stimulus check to their residents. So this is actually pretty big. This will be a one-time relief payment. This is coming from the governor, but this is going to be a $1,000 stimulus check. It's going to go to roughly 174,000 first responders and roughly 180,000 educators. So this is actually pretty big as well. Again, it's a $1,000 stimulus check there. And here's another thing. This isn't technically a stimulus check, but it will provide stimulus. One of the things that we're hearing is that in upstate New York, families started receiving $500 per month payments. This is pretty big, and I've been saying this for a while. With Democrats now in power, okay, not just essentially in different states, but with Democrats holding the White House, the House, and the Senate, what we're going to see is we're going to see a push for universal basic income. Now, what is this? Universal basic income is simply just money that you receive every month. It's just basic income that you can use for your spending, to pay bills, put food on the table, whatever. Now, the purpose of this, again, these are all just kind of experimental trials. Los Angeles County was actually still is planning on participating in something like this, and that would be the biggest one in the country. But many counties, many cities are going through these experimental phases where they're testing out to see if they provide, let's say, $100 or $200 or $300 payments per month to a family. How far would that get them? Would their lives be better after a year or 2 years of receiving these payments? In most cases, yes, it is. Here's what we know. Currently, there's 100 households that are receiving a $500 per month payment in upstate New York. These are for families that are making less than $46,900 per year. Again, this is just a universal basic income, okay? That's all this is. It's not technically a stimulus check, even though some are saying it is going to provide stimulus. But what we know is that by providing universal basic income to lower income families and earners, it will actually pull them away from some of the federal programs, which would actually save the government money. So that's kind of the premise behind this. Again, these different cities, counties, and states are going through different experimental phases and processes to figure out if this is something that truly makes sense and it would be good for the American people. Honestly, at this time, yes, universal basic income would be good for some. However, experts do believe that by providing universal basic income to an individual or family, it actually makes it where they are less motivated or driven to go get a job, go to work, and to further their career or their whatever, right? And so this is kind of what we're seeing is, should we provide universal basic income or should we not? Some are saying that the child tax credit, if it turns into a permanent tax credit, that is essentially universal basic income for children. So we will see. Now, the reason why I bring this up for New Jersey, Florida, and New York, and upstate New York, is actually pretty simple. Even though these payments may not affect you or impact you directly at this time, these will impact you at some point. I say this because what we know at this time is that many governors, many mayors, they're looking to see what other states are doing. Your state might not be doing anything at this time, but it doesn't mean they won't in the future. So keep this in mind. There will be more cities, there will be more counties, there will be more states that provide additional stimulus. As to who receives it, when they get it, how much it's going to be. Honestly, those are the questions that we just don't have answers to at this time. But as we know more, I promise I will share more. Now, because of these limited amount of stimulus checks, the limited amount of additional funding to the American people, many experts believe this is one of the reasons why we are seeing a slow or a small uptick in consumer spending. Now, over the past couple of months, spending has been down a little bit. Some are saying that this is because the American people are believing that there's no additional stimulus coming. There's no additional stimulus checks. Unemployment benefits are being canceled. And tomorrow we're going to see another 9 states cancel their benefits as well. Okay, so this is going to be big. We also know the eviction moratorium has been extended for 1 more month. This will be the final month according to the CDC. And so as of August 1st, the eviction moratorium will be done. So people could be evicted unless the governors of certain states step up and extend it. So experts believe that right now, this is the reason why many Americans are not spending their money. They are saving their money, doing everything they can to put more into savings so that they could actually weather a storm. If we see an additional lockdown, which many don't expect, but if we did, they would have the funds to get through it. So we will see what happens there. However, many experts do believe that Congress will get more stimulus together. They will get something included in the next package. However, how big is this going to be? What kind of stimulus will we see? Nancy Pelosi has already stated, and this was actually pretty big news, is that she will not take up the infrastructure package. That's the bipartisan bill that President Biden says we have a deal. Honestly, there is no deal. There's no deal yet. Because as soon as President Biden said we have a deal, just a couple hours later, he came out and said that he would veto this bill if it's not in tandem with a budget reconciliation bill, which the Democrats will put forward. So the problem here, okay, let me explain the problem really quick. The problem is President Biden came out and said, yes, we have a deal, but then right after that he said, no, we don't have a deal. Or technically he alluded to the fact that there's no deal. Nancy Pelosi stated she's not going to take up the bipartisan infrastructure package until in the House until the Senate votes on the reconciliation bill. So she's essentially telling her caucus that, well, we're not going to waste our time because chances are the Senate is not going to vote on this just yet. Because according to multiple reports, Senator Joe Manchin, even though he's not against a budget reconciliation, he doesn't want to see a budget reconciliation done when they are still working on a bipartisan bill that he himself actually started working with the group on. Joe Manchin is one of the 21 senators in this bipartisan group. So he obviously wants to see this bill go through. The problem is, will this bill go through before, or will it go through with a budget reconciliation? According to reports, it has to go with the budget reconciliation, not before. So we will see. But if this is the case, this means if we see any infrastructure, there will most likely be stimulus included, because we know infrastructure, and as of the main roads, bridges, broadband, railways, things like that, that is what is currently being discussed. That's what this bipartisan bill is on. That's what the framework is. Okay, but, and here's a big one, but the social infrastructure package, that is also known as the stimulus package, that will be addressed through a budget reconciliation. So Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, President Biden, all the leaders are pretty much saying a budget reconciliation is going to happen. It's just, when does this happen? So this means stimulus will be included. This means an expansion of Medicare. This means additional stimulus checks. Like I've stated before, I do not believe monthly stimulus checks are on the table. I don't believe they're in the cards. Yeah, I just want to be 100% honest. I don't think they're going to be in this because they are very expensive. If it's a monthly stimulus check to a state or a city or a county, that's obviously less expensive than providing for every single American here in the United States. But again, this is where targeting will really come into play. We also know the child tax credits are still being discussed, possibly extending them till 2025. Whether they are monthly payments like they're supposed to be starting on July 15th, we don't know. But some are saying that that is what they're pushing for. There will be free community college, and we could see additional tax credits and incentives for individuals and businesses as well. I remember last year, we were hearing reports of you could potentially get a bonus or a tax credit back. If you went on vacation, but you had to go on vacation 50 miles away from your home, right? We could hear more reports on things like that. Maybe not the exact same one, but something very similar. And many are still waiting to see how big of a push we get from progressives and Democrats on not just additional stimulus, but on a Social Security boost. President Biden promised. He promised student debt forgiveness and $200 per month for Social Security recipients. However, neither one have actually come true. But this is also why we're getting more of a push from lawmakers on student debt forgiveness in the next bill. Senators Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren both want to see this included. A recent study that just came out the other day shows that 24,000 people that were questioned in this study, only 1 out of 10 borrowers says they are ready for payments to begin. That means 9 out of 10 say they are not ready. 75% of these borrowers are saying that the pause on payments is critical for their financial well-being. 80% say that they currently depend on COVID relief for federal student loans. And 33% said that once payments begin in October, more than 25% of their income, their disposable income, would go to student loan payments. So, some are saying that there is no way to get back to where we once were without providing some type of cancellation of student debt. So we will see. But what I can tell you is this is something that Senator Schumer and Elizabeth Warren are going to continue to push. And in other news, and this is actually a pretty big one. I don't like to give you bad news in every video. This is technically bad news. the Delta COVID variant now has a new variant. Okay, it's a new variant. It's mutating a little bit. The experts are now calling this the Delta Plus variant. Experts worry that this will be more transmissible. Some other countries are actually saying that adults that are vaccinated, that the Delta Plus variant is actually impacting them as well. So it's not something that you can just skip over because you're vaccinated, right? So far, there have been 83 cases here in the United States of the Delta Plus variant. And there's also many more that were identified in other countries as well. So I wanted to give you this update on the Delta variant simply because this is the new thing we are seeing. Some say that there's going to continue to be a variant, some type of mutation as we keep going. But if we can all get vaccinated, if we can all reach that 70 to 80% vaccination rate here in the country, then things will get back to normal. Well, I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's what experts are saying. So that's the update for today. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful Friday. Have an incredible weekend as well. If you can, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out the channel. Also, consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.